problem.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the fifth episode of the Black Standard podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we have our first guest. Hi, Akeem.
Hi everyone.
Hello. So, Akeem is actually a classmate of mine. We both attended the Caribbean Maritime University and we graduated. What year was that? 20.
2018.
Oh God, that was 3 years ago. Okay, so guys, before we begin this episode, our quote of the day is don't make friends who you are comfortable with, make friends who will force you to level yourself up. And that is by Thomas J. Watson. So, Akeem, on the podcast, we have a daily mantra that we repeat every single episode, and we're going to be repeating it now. So, it goes like this: I am happy to be alive. My heart is clean. My mind is open and I'm ready to receive. So, do you think you can repeat that with me?
Sure.
Okay, let's go. One, two, three. I
I
am
am happy
happy
to
to be
be
alive.
alive. My heart is clean.
My mind
My mind is
is open.
open,
I
and I am ready to receive.
yes. Okay, so we're going to be getting into the interview now. So, Akeem, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What was life like as, little Akeem? Just tell me some information about that.
All right, no problem. For me, I grew up in Saint Catherine and Saint Mary.
Oh,
So yeah, when I was younger, my mom used to work in St. Mary. I went to basic school in St. Mary. For
okay.
those who don't know what basic school is, that's elementary school for your US listeners. Um, so yeah, I attended elementary or basic school in St. Mary, and then I did prep school in St. Catherine because my mom lived in St. Mary because of work. My dad lived in St. Catherine also
And
because
that's
of
Jamaica,
work.
right?
That's Jamaica.
Okay, okay. So fast forward to college, which is when I met you. We weren't in the same class until I think third or
Third year.
fourth year, because how we do it at that college is the first 2 years we do general subjects, and then third and fourth year we kind of specialize. So, what was the college experience like for you? What was maritime in particular like for you?
It was a great experience. There were a lot of industry persons who were lecturing us. So they were able to impart a lot of industry knowledge, adding to the theoretical side of things that we were learning. Um, they tried to bring across the practical aspects, also with the different field trips that we went on. Mr. Spence, Mr. Green, big up yourself.
Mr.
You
Mullings.
guys, yes, you guys really enabled us to get a taste of what the working world would be before actually getting into the working world. So I do believe CMU was and still is a great learning institution for students.
Yeah. So at CMU, we did logistics and supply chain management, but the Caribbean Maritime University actually has other courses like customs and freight forwarding, industrial engineering. They have a cadet program for seafarers. Those are the persons that work on ships. But Akeem, we both study logistics. So I'm going to ask you to just like break down exactly your understanding of logistics. Do you think it's something that you regret studying? Is it something that you're proud of? Are you happy with the decision? Is it your passion? And what has the industry been like so far since graduation?
All right, no problem. So I do believe logistics and supply chain was a great choice for me. It opened up a wide net, I would say, based on what logistics and supply chain is, because it encompasses a lot. So it's basically from the source, basically, or from the grassroots to the end product, and everything along that chain and in between. So when you look at a degree like this, you can basically get a job in any field because every field is looking to provide a service or a product to persons. So, or every business, I should say, is looking to provide a product or a service to persons. So whether you're working for someone or if you're creating your own business, the knowledge we got from this logistics and supply chain degree will enable you to be successful in the industry. I currently work at Nestle Jamaica Limited,
Woo!
and
Congratulations, by the
yes,
way.
top company, the world's largest food and beverage company, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, so whilst working there, I have only been able to tap into a few subjects that I studied at CMU.
Oh.
Yes, because initially I was working in the distribution center, where my warehousing and inventory management course at CMU really came into play.
Mhm.
Some of the things that I learned in that class theoretically, the practical aspect of it, mixing with the theory, really opened up my mind to what I was learning in class and gave me an even greater understanding beyond just the theoretical level.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I what I'm curious to ask you is, or I'm sure the listeners want to know, you said Nestle is one of the top food brands in the world. So how was a college student like yourself, um, well, to my knowledge, minimal work experience, how are you able to land a job? That's amazing. How are you able to land a job like that? And right after college too. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. I would say it is it was a stroke of luck, but in this world, you kind of create your own luck at times. In the sense that whether knowingly or unknowingly, I kind of set myself up for this opportunity in that in my first year of university, I didn't really like the grades that I got because I think I got two C pluses and some B.
You were a C
Yeah,
plus student. I
y-
did.
I,
I
I got two B minus. I know my GPA was 3.0 for that first year,
see.
but
My mind is blown because you were an honor roll student in
mhm.
when I met you. So I'm actually kind of shocked right now.
Yeah. So it was that first year where I got a 3.0 GPA and I thought to
You're
myself
like,
that I
no.
could do better than this. And I set out a plan for myself. I said year on year I would get a better GPA. And that's exactly what I did. So by my final year, when there was a career fair at our university, because there's an annual career fair for the students that are graduating,
Mhm.
there
Right.
are quote unquote mock interviews with
Companies.
companies, but it's not really a mock interview. You would think it's a mock interview, but you can very much get hired from those
Right?
career fairs. So because I had set out that plan for myself academically, I was doing well. At that time, overall, I think I was trending at a 3.6 GPA. At that point in time, actually graduated school with a 3.75 GPA, by the way.
Mm. Okay.
um, yes, so because of that, and also because I was a member of some of the service clubs at our university, I was
Yeah,
also
you were
one.
very involved.
Yes, very involved. So, and I also played basketball for the university as well. So,
Oh yeah, you did.
mhm.
Yes, you did.
So if you couple the sports with the academics
You were well rounded
and the service clubs, yes, I looked very good on paper. And also
in person.
because, well, yes, I am as well. But also because my name is Akeem and my first name is Akeem and my last name is Booth, it
Uh-huh.
enabled me the opportunity to interview with Nestle first based on the alphabetical order
Oh,
that they were going by.
so you just kind of grabbed them in your hands, like your personality, um, your resume, your achievements, all of that you would say contributed to you.
Yeah, and also
So
because I was well rehearsed when it came
so
onto the company.
so I have
I
a
do.
question.
Yeah. Hmm.
Were you hired before graduation or after graduation? Because I know, let me just backtrack a little bit. Separate and apart from the career fair that CMU has, in second year we have mandatory work experience, right? Which is one of the reasons why I would recommend CMU to anyone. I don't think any other college ensures that you have work experience leaving university, and that's the thing in Jamaica that it always say you need experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience. So
Experience.
CMU always ensures that you have that, and I know that sometimes um, companies hire you from then, like before you even begin to specialize. And a lot of students switch part time because they don't want to lose that relationship and then they take the job. For me, I was at ICC. So Miss Webley, if you're listening to this, I love you. I respect you. I hope you're well. But for me, me and Leon, you remember Leon? We
Yeah,
went
man.
there and we left a lasting impression. And she actually called me on my way driving to graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, she was like, Courtney, you don't graduate yet. I have a job position for you, blah blah blah. So, um, is it that when the career fair was held, were you hired from then, or did you just maintain the relationship and then after graduation you started working there?
Oh, sure. Great question. I wasn't hired from then, but that was a fault of my own. I was offered a job on
Oh,
spot.
what?
Yes,
Ah, that's
but
crazy.
I declined.
Why?
Well, first of all, I had also set out to get a first class degree,
Yeah.
and I knew that for me and my how I focus, if I
Uh-huh.
was working, I wouldn't be able to maintain my GPA.
Okay.
So I wouldn't get the first class degree. So
So
that's why I told the HR manager at the time that I was focused more on school. I'm turning down the opportunity now, but it's not a no from Nestle. So he had given me his contact and told me to contact him when I
when you
graduated.
graduated, this
Yeah,
was fourth year.
this was fourth year,
So they
March.
waited on you an entire year.
No, they waited on me for I started working at Nestle in November. And the
Graduation.
career
Yeah.
fair was in March.
Okay, so just a couple months. Okay. So you set out to have a very spectacular track record. You did that. You made a lasting impression. You actually developed or created that space where you could get a job with one of the largest companies in Jamaica. You did that as well. So apart from your resume, apart from your achievements, you have to have certain skills. So I'm curious to know, what would you say are your top three skills? Like what makes Akeem Booth Akeem Booth?
All right, sure. I would have to say number one would be communication. I do believe that I'm a great communicator. It doesn't matter who or what, I always call myself or look at myself like a chameleon. I can always adapt to
Mm,
any situation, any person. So it can be the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor. It doesn't matter. I will
that's a
always
good
be
one.
able to communicate well with anyone. And we all talk, whether it be verbally or non-verbally. So, and that is a core part of who human beings are. So mastering communication is something, is a skill that will aid you throughout your entirety in life. Working in a company or working for yourself, you'll have to build relationships, you'll have to network, and having great communication skills really lends itself to you being successful. So that would be number one. Just naturally being a leader, I think would be number two. You mean university? I was always the one to galvanize the troops if we got assignments.
That's fact.
Um, I would say let's not wait until the appointed time to
Time,
do
right.
them. Let's get to it right now. Um, let's do it right now because we don't know what's coming tomorrow from our next lecturer. So doing it right now, it really lends itself to you balancing your time well between schoolwork, and we all have other things doing outside of school, whether it be recreational activities or developing ourselves personally,
Even
otherwise,
work, because
even
school is
work.
work, right?
Exactly. So you have to learn how to balance your time. So just being that natural leader, and leading by example, persons will naturally want to follow you and you'll attract the right type of persons as well in your space. So leadership, communication, and the last one for me would be, it kind of ties in with the leadership as well, would be teamwork. No one person can function on their own. You will always need the expertise from other individuals because you can't be an expert at everything.
That's
So you focus on what you're good at and you maximize on that. And then other persons who are good at other things, you can connect with them and you guys can become a strong team and build out something lasting and fulfilling.
okay.
Mhm.
And just to add, I do agree with you where the communication part is concerned, because for me, as a content creator, as an entrepreneur, um, my growth is, well, partly it's partly dependent on my work, but it's also dependent on the relationships that I form. Anywhere I go, I try to, make conversation, leave a lasting impression, and just try to always help others in any way that I can. Because the world is so, so, so small, and you never know when you're gonna need, the help of somebody or the advice from someone. So those are your three skills. So do you think you were always like this, or do you think that that growth period in, I think you said it was first year,
Mhm.
um do you think that that change has attributed to who you are or where you are at this point in time?
Um, I would have to say it was really my first failure, quote unquote failure in life, that really gave me my drive. This was back in high school, actually, in fifth form, when I took CXE math for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, so I had gotten a grade 4, which was very disappointing for me. I got a one and ones and twos in everything else, but in the CXE math, I got a grade 4 in fifth form. And if who for persons who don't know, the minimum grade you can get in CXE to be classified as a pass is a 3. So me getting a grade 4, I failed, and I went to sixth form. I did it again in lower six and I got a 5. But truth be told, I never really studied for it because I was just so bummed out about the first time. I was just like, yo, I don't need the math, blah, 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 blah. Really and truly, I needed the math. If it wasn't for my mom and my aunts who really pushed me to redo it in upper six, I would never have done it. And I did it the third time. I got a grade 2, and I said to myself, I never want to feel failure ever again. So I'm going to push hard to be the best I can be, do the best I can do in any and everything that I do in life. And that's just been the driving factor for me ever since. But remember one thing though, failure. I have a definition for failure. I saw it on the internet maybe about 3, 4 weeks ago.
I wonder if it's the
Um,
same as mine. Go
it
ahead.
really it really went well with me, and it's the first attempt in learning. Fail. um First attempt in learning. So you can do something, and you don't necessarily succeed, but it doesn't have to be failure as long as you learn something from what occurred. And I always say to myself, always fail forward. So if you try it one way and it doesn't work, you can always try it another way.
That's what I was gonna say. Not entirely, but I always say if you're gonna fail, fail forward because there's always a lesson to be learned. And people who try to make it look like they just got up and they were successful, I usually don't believe any of that. Somewhere behind the scenes, they had to go back to the drawing board. They had to
That's
rethink
correct.
something, recreate something. So if you're gonna fail, fail forward. Always fail forward. So before we get into your other endeavors, because the topic of this episode is corporate and content, I wanted to ask you if you had to name 5 people who you think have a major influence on you, whether you know them personally, whether they're in your circle. Because I mean, everyone has some form of influence, whether it was on the television growing up and you're like, man, I want to look like that guy, or I want to be like that guy. Who would you have on your top 5 list of persons that influence you?
All right. I've never really had anyone I aspired to be like per se, but for me, my mother is number one. She has been a very positive impact, or has have a very positive impact on my life from day one. I always said to myself that any woman I'm going to marry has to carry similar traits to my mom, because I think she
Lady!
is the best mom in the world. When I tell you about just anything that I did, she would never, even if I considered it a failure for myself, she would never say to me, "Oh, you're a failure," or whatever. She always said, "Don't worry, you did your best. You can always do better the next time." And that's something that really resonated with me.
That's kind of rare too with jumping. I don't want to be negative, but that's kind of rare to where African and Caribbean parents are concerned. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's parents out there where, and if you're African or Caribbean, you understand what I mean. If you bring home 98%, they're gonna be like, "Where's the 2%?
You're
Where's the
the
2%?"
2%.
That kid got 100%. Like they don't. They're not really encouraging in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really rare. So big up yourself, mommy, wherever
Yes,
you are.
definitely.
um and Mother's Day is approaching too, so I hope
Yes,
you get her something really special. um
naturally.
and I like how you tied in, because a lot of parents don't realize the effect of parenting when it comes on to their child and dating. And that's why people always refer to, generational curses, generational poverty, or even just relationships overall. So I'm really glad that you were able to look up to your mother and actually have like a prerequisite of the type of woman that
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for. That's actually really respectable. And so if you're a parent and you're listening to this, um, you have a bigger influence in your life than in your child's life than you think you do. It's not just getting the job done, but for example, if you're a father, you are the first man in your daughter's life, and if you're a mother, you're the first woman in your son's life. So, um, your mom,
Mm-hmm.
is it your mom that's the only person on the
No,
list? Like,
no, not at all. She's definitely up
she's
there,
number
but she's not
one.
the yes, but she's not the only person. There's one of my aunts as well. She has always been an academic, brilliant woman, has her PhD and everything.
Oh wow.
And whilst she is a very driven academically, she's the most relaxed, fun going, happy going traveler. Just her personality type is very strange. And I think I've taken up a similar personality type where I can be an academic, be all about the books and all of that. But at the same time, there's a totally different side, the
Yeah,
fun, the
there's a
goofy, the
balance.
wild, the adventurous, all of that. And typically persons who are more academical don't really come over the other
And
side.
vice
That,
versa.
yeah. So I think I emulated her with that, because where I I study hard and I play hard as well.
So, guys, we're gonna be getting into the content creation part of Akeem's life, but I do agree with him there because I watch his vlogs on YouTube, and I think the other day you were what, on a yacht or something. Like
Yeah.
I, I've never been on a yacht before, so I really hope to get that done one day. So, like I said before, the topic of this episode is corporate and content. So, like you said, there is a balance when it comes on to Akeem Booth. And I do agree with you that, you know, life is short, life is fun, and all work and no play makes Courtney and Akeem dull persons. So, um, you have other endeavors other than Nestle. You do what is it? Part time, full time acting, and
Um,
recently you started a YouTube channel. So tell us a little bit about the acting, what it's
mhm.
like. Talk about your YouTube channel, and then I'm gonna ask you about how you kind of balance all of that because being an honor student, it takes a lot of hard work. And now what I kind of see in you now, it's like that same drive, that same level of responsibility. I'm seeing that now because I pay attention to your social media. And I think you're extremely balanced. You're not one of the overlooked persons at work. You seem to be very involved. And then now with this, YouTube thing and then acting, like tell me a little bit about each of those.
All right. The acting thing. Well, that started off back in 2018, where I was looking to make a little bit more extra income for myself. Because I was, well, not extra. I wasn't working at all. I was still in university. Um, so I was looking to make, no, it was actually 2016. 2016. Oh, do you remember the
So
year? But anyway,
that would have been around second year,
second, yeah, I think second year.
right?
So I was looking to make some a living for myself in a sense because I was in full university mode. But the acting thing doesn't take a lot out of you. You just need to show up on the day if you get the gig really and truly, and then be prepared to do whatever it is that you're asked to do. So I saw a casting for a open casting call, and I said, "Hey, why not?" I had one friend who did an ad, and she told me that she made $50,000 for
That's
3 hours of work.
crazy. I agree with you because I worked with Nardika last year on a music video. That was my
Mhm.
first music video. Famous. And it was decent. I got another opportunity the other day, but I wasn't able to do it because of my age.
Mm.
But that opportunity would have given me 200 US per day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I agree with you. But continue, go ahead.
Yeah, so she told me she made $50,000 doing it. I'm like, whoa, I need to look into this because the time given or the time spent versus the value you get back from the time spent, it seemed like a very good trade-off. I'm saying 3 hours, $50,000. No, this is a very good trade-off, especially as a college student. So I went to this thing, didn't know what to expect, just brought my personality. I am charming, naturally, fun. Just a happy person. If you come around me, it's just pure vibes. You can't be sad around me. I can tell you that much. So going there, they asked me my name, where I worked, and just to tell them a little bit about myself. And I did that. And at the time, I remember the producer said to me, JJ, big up yourself. He said to me, wow, this guy looks great on camera. And when he said that, he called over the client and he was like pointing at me, I remember. So I was in my mind, I was like, maybe I actually
Hmm.
got a shot at getting a
Mm-hmm.
place in this thing. So maybe about 2 days passed, and then I got a call that I made a cut and they wanted me to come out. And that was my first ever opportunity in acting. It was a commercial for Best Dressed Chicken.
I don't think I saw that. I matter of fact, I didn't know you were acting until sometime last year.
Mm.
I didn't know that. But I just pulled out my calculator. I'm sorry. You made 60,666.66. That's a lot of sixes. It per hour. You made
Mm.
that per hour. And because we do have viewers in listeners in other countries. So guys,
Countries.
just to be clear, the average Jamaican makes $625 an hour. Because if you make $5,000 a day, 5 days a week, that's 25,000. Um, times four, that's 100. Well, most Jamaicans make 80,000 a month, but $100,000 a month, that's 625,000. $625 per hour, and you made 16,666. That's crazy. So why not do full time acting? Like, what is it? Is it not your passion? Is it like a little side hustle? Why not do?
Yeah, it's more of a side hustle for me. Why I say I wouldn't do it full time is because your image is not one that may always be highly sought after, because different
Right.
clients are looking for different persons at different times for different projects. So the chances of you always getting work is not that high. So this is where communication and networking comes into play.
Well,
In
what
this,
if you do two casting calls per month? Like,
yeah, but what are your chances of
what
getting
are
two
the
casting
odds?
calls? Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but
That's the thing. I could get into it for you if you want me
I
to.
just, yeah, talk to me about that, because I'm thinking from the outward perspective. If I signed up with more than one casting company,
Okay.
and because this is me thinking about it here. If I sign up with more than one casting company, and then I do two, so that's 6 hours of work per month. I
No,
can make more than the average Jamaican. So, what are the odds of getting two casting calls a month?
all right. So you have to bear in mind, first of all, that you have companies that are similar in nature. So when your image
Hmm.
is used for, say, for instance, a
You don't want to use
Digicel,
much.
say, for instance, your image is used for a Digicel, then you know that every other telecommunications company would
Not
not.
gonna use you. That's so unfair.
Not going to. You're kind of tied into a contract with Digicel as well. So no two brand will want to have you
Oh,
representing them at the same time.
you're in a contract with Digicel, is
When
that?
you do an acting gig, you tie yourself into a contract for a period for
Oh.
them to use your image.
Oh, so that's why people are like, "Oh, you're the guy I saw on TV." Blah blah blah. So
Hmm.
Flow is not gonna, which is the other
They
communication.
wouldn't,
That they're
based on the
not.
fact that you did something for digital, but also they can't because you're locked into a
Oh,
contract, an image contract for a while. It
so
depends on how long that
it's a lot
contract
more
is.
complicated than I thought it was. I
Yes.
thought you just go read what's
It
on the
depends.
paper.
It depends on who or what you're doing. Because if you're doing music videos, then that's fine. Typically, music videos don't lock you into a contract.
Right.
You just go, you do your thing, and you get paid same day. When
Oh,
you
so like
do,
that ad that I was referring to about $200 a day. If I had done that, I don't want to call the company's name, but if I had done that, another beverage drink company
mhm,
wouldn't be able to use me. Or
no,
okay,
no. Mhm.
okay. So tell me about your YouTube channel. Is it like fitness and travel, life? Like, tell me, what is it about? What direction are you trying to push the channel in? Congratulations on starting, by the way. I
Thank you.
always hear people say, the one day people. One day
Mhm.
I'm gonna, and I have to applaud people that actually, start, because all you really need to do is just start. But tell me a little bit about your channel and where you think you want it to be headed.
For right now, it's more of a lifestyle thing because I have a lot of interests because I'm a huge foodie. I love work. I don't even know. You see, I'm always kind of mixing two things that typically
How are you
don't
a
go together.
foodie and then a fitness junkie?
Exactly, exactly. I'm always trying to be on either end of the spectrum. So I don't know. I make it work. I definitely make it work. But for me right now, it's just a lifestyle thing. And what I have going on in my life right now is a lot of food related things, fitness, travel and adventure. I'm trying to dabble into some motivational things as well because I feel like I have
Okay.
a lot of wealth of knowledge I could share to persons coming up, especially the youth. I'm always trying to empower the youth and getting them to a point where they are at a better place than I was when I was their age, giving them the insights, giving them the knowledge to help them to better themselves more quickly than I was able to and understand certain aspects of life from an early stage.
And then like you go out, you travel. So is it gonna be just vlogs? You said motivational content, but like, is it gonna be, will the most motivational content be like sit down videos, like you around a desk
Sit down
you
videos.
jogging and like you can do this, you gotta want it,
Mm-mm,
you gotta.
mm-mm. It's never going to be anything cliche. So I always strive to do something different than what's out there already. That may take a while to catch on, but because you can do YouTube two ways in a sense for me, based on my research. A lot of ways, but two ways in the main. You can go with the crowd of what they're doing now, and that will help you to build your channel quickly and
Very
all of that.
quickly, yeah.
Or you can kind of go against the grain and build something for yourself
Build a
that
brand.
when it catches on, you'll be known for that thing. And not just, oh, he did the XYZ challenge, he did the blah blah blah.
Yeah, I share a similar opinion as well, and that's why even with my personal YouTube channel, I go after educational content because I challenges can only trend for so long, and I am more of a business person. I personally spend most of my time on YouTube watching business content. So if I'm
Hmm.
gonna make content, I figure the best content to make is that I, something that I'm knowledgeable about or what I'm passionate about. So where do you see your channel headed in, like, I'd say 1 year? Let's not do 5 years because social media changes so fast. But 1 year, where do you see your channel headed?
1 year, I think my channel will be a hub
Manifest it.
um for persons who would like to travel to Jamaica, getting a holistic experience of some of the places that are out there and not so much all the cliche places that a lot of persons haven't experienced
Right,
before.
right.
Those are the places I'm trying to look at going and experiencing for myself and then sharing those experiences as well as I have something that that's coming. It's big.
Some.
I don't want to talk about it right
That's
now,
okay. That's okay.
but trust me, I will tell you guys the name of it though. It'll be called The Perfect Fit.
Okay. That
That's
sounds
all I'm giving.
that sounds like it's going to be interesting. Okay, so remember I had asked you earlier about balance.
Hmm.
So being an honor roll student, you kind of know how to, do time management so that you can get the results that you want. So being a full-time employee, because I'm self-employed, so I can move around my schedule, but being a full-time employee and now being a content creator, part-time actor, how do you balance all of that and make it work? Because I always say quality over quantity, and I'll never take too much on my plate because then something gets poorly done.
Hmm.
Your videos are A1, 10 out of 10. Me and my boyfriend, we were watching that the same one with the traveling on the yacht, and I was like,
Yeah.
Akeem just started his channel and his intro. It's nice, the graphics, everything, it's nice. So obviously you put time into that, and in addition to that, you post consistently. And not a lot of people who start YouTube channels get that part. You have to be very consistent for persons to take you seriously, for persons to follow up your content. So how do you think, or how do you balance all of that, especially working at such a big company like Nestle, being in logistics? I'm sure it's very demanding because
Very.
logistics is the base of every company, literally every company. So tell me, how do you make it work?
All right. So, once I started my YouTube channel in 2021, I've always had a passion for photography and videography. And I actually had a YouTube channel before with my best friend from high school. We used to do jerking videos back in the day.
Jerking videos?
Yeah, you don't know what jerking is? I'm a jerk. You're a
Oh,
jerk.
the dance!
Yeah, the
I thought
dance.
you meant the food. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't picture that.
Yeah, trust me, you don't want to see it. You don't.
Is it still public? I'm gonna
It's
I'm
it's
gonna
still
look for it
public. It's
after this podcast.
hilarious.
I am gonna look for it after this podcast.
Well,
Okay, so it's not your
best of
first
luck finding
channel.
it. It's not.
I think you should make those
But
videos private before I log off this podcast because I'm gonna go watch. And I wouldn't take it down. I wouldn't take it
no,
down.
it's there.
Even my
They're
first,
all
even on
public.
my channel, I think even if I have 10 million subscribers, I'm never gonna remove my first videos. People need to see the growth. You
Yeah,
know.
definitely, definitely.
Okay.
But we were just doing it for fun because we love the jerking culture. But when it all died out, because that was just for a time, we stopped because we weren't outright dancers. We were just, you know,
Did you
that
get
specific.
subscribers?
Yeah, yes, and we even did virtual collaborations with
What?
persons from other countries. So we were on this digital space before
You know
even
what would
this
have been
pandemic
funny?
started.
What would have been funny is you having, because there's this mom, she has a podcast and she was saying that for years she was uploading on YouTube when she had no idea what she was doing, and she could
Mm,
have monetized her channel years ago. What would
mm,
have been funny is you having that channel, it reached 1,000 subscribers, and you not knowing back then that you could have monetized.
true, because we knew nothing about that back
Yeah,
then.
I didn't know YouTube. Like, I just thought it was a platform where you watched videos. I didn't think of it from the creator's side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So has it been hard, like, going to work, editing? Do you film
Um,
on weekends? Because
all right, let me tell you, doing anything in life that's worth doing or having anything in life that's worth having takes work, a lot of work, and not just the physical side of things. There's a mental aspect of things that persons really don't understand um, a lot of the times. So for me, because I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a while, well, because I had a YouTube channel before, and then I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a while, but I'm kind of a perfectionist. So if something is, and it's a downfall of mine,
hence
don't
the
follow my
intro.
process.
Hence the intro.
Don't follow my process, because if you follow my process, sometimes you'll never start something. But because
Yeah,
of how I
exactly.
am, um, I didn't really want to start until I had certain things to what my expectations of where my level is or where I want my level to be before I started. But during my waiting time, I wasn't idle. I set out a roadmap for myself. I knew exactly how I wanted to execute when I got the equipment and the graphics to where I wanted it. So when I started, it wasn't hard for me to navigate because I already had the master plan all laid out. And I'm just going through that process right now.
Do you have a content plan?
Yeah.
Because I have a content plan. I took a course on LinkedIn Learning. It was really worth it. And I will plan my content months in advance, like months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if something pops up that I need to talk about, I will, move around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're very balanced. I can see that. But we have listeners from their teens, because I can see the analytics on Anchor. We have listeners from their teens, um, to their late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So, my last question to you is, if you had one piece of advice to give young Akeem, I'm talking like, you know, prep school, or in America, they'd say middle school.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one piece of advice to give to young Akeem, what would it be?
Um, I would say stay driven. Know that anything you want to achieve in life doesn't come easy, but if it's what you're passionate about and it's what you want to do, then that dedication that you have towards that end, or the dedication I would assume you would want to have towards that end, coupled with consistency and discipline, there's nothing in this world you can't achieve.
Yeah, you can do anything you want to do. I, we're living proof. We have logistics degrees, and as simple as it seems on the outside, having a YouTube channel, you have to be skilled in filming, you have to be skilled in editing, angles, lighting, marketing, because you can't just put the content out and that's it. You have to market it.
Uh,
So you can do, I have proven that myself to myself over the past couple of years. I can do anything I set my
anything,
mind to. I agree with
anything.
you there. Okay. Where can the people find you, Akeem?
All right. So you can find me on YouTube. Matter of fact, you can find me on all social media
All
at
socials.
all socials at Moments by Booth.
Okay. All right then. And do you see yourself doing collaborations? Because you do fitness videos on your channels. Do you see yourself doing any collaborations?
Definitely, definitely. I have a lot of persons right now. I have collaborations planned with. As I said, I have the master plan.
Okay,
We're
okay,
just
we're not
going
gonna
through
talk
the
about
process.
it. Okay, well, Akeem, thank you for taking the time out to come on this podcast. Hopefully, you can come on the podcast again in future. Especially, I personally want to see your channel after a year, because I've known you for a couple of years, and I know the type of person that you are. And so everything you said in this podcast, I genuinely believe you can achieve it. That's why, even where the daily mantra is concerned, I try to have my listeners repeat it as much as possible, because the more you manifest things, you decide that you're going to do this, it is possible, it can happen, and it will happen. So, listeners, that is the end of our podcast. I will see you guys in the next episode.